Classical mistake right there. Good evening, America. My name is Robert C Ayala, and I'm a real Democrat running for the Democratic nomination for president to stop the campaigns of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, or any candidate telling us how to live, what to ingest, or how to look. I may be imperfect, but I know what I believe. And that's in you. Sorry, I have a dog going crazy. It's throwing things off a little bit. So nobody's here tonight, so I wanted to jump in and talk about some of the news today. There's not really much out there. We have a debate coming up with some candidates here. We're going to go through that, make sure we're okay with that. But right now, the one thing I wanted to say to the Democratic Party is I don't understand this masking thing. And, bringing the mask back right now, I see some people running around with it. It's okay for people to have a concern about staying healthy and not wanting to get other people sick. But at the end of the day, I don't think that we should be in a position where we're forcing people to wear things that they don't want to. So bear with me for 1 second. I want to make sure that somebody isn't here or something's not going on outside. The dog's not quieting down for a minute, so bear with me. All right, my apologies about that. Once again, I think that the way we beat Donald Trump or any of the candidates is that we get out there and we win on some ideas this time around. It can't just be another show of I don't like that candidate and so I'm better than that candidate, because the margins were so small last time, and I already indicated that I thought Wisconsin was going to be the battleground state. I may get proven wrong on that, but I just think when Hollywood starts moving forward with mandating people once again to do things, what it does is just empowering the people on the other side. For whatever people's beliefs are, good, bad, or indifferent relative to COVID, I've made my positions well known on this. I'm not for really telling anybody what to do. You should do what's good for your family. You should do what is healthy for you. You should do things that are relative to your well-being. And the last time I checked in the world of medicine, that wasn't, we all just jumped on one program and that was the end of it all, and that was it. And the other thing is, sometimes there's so many boosters with these new medicines that after a while I think people really get tired of getting a shot or getting something shoved up their nose, or it's just tiring at the end of the day. So what I think fundamentally as a country is we need to just continue to support reasonable health care that's based on science, and make sure that we're moving in a way that protect our seniors and people with immune systems they may be deficient. And it's on one sense it's weird because we have banned tobacco products in most public places, but now since the marijuana is booming everywhere, we're going to bring back lounges, and to me that doesn't really make any rational sense. I know I'm going to get some haters here on this, but if a cigarette is an X factor of 10 bad for you and marijuana is an X factor of 50 bad for you, why would we suddenly allow everybody indoors to consume a product that's in a closed space and that there's a real potential for secondhand smoke to get to other people? None of these studies have been done. So it's just one more thing is that we need to make sure that we're just all being healthy and we're not making things worse, and that we're not ostracizing people for their own individual choices. So that's where I am. Lionsgate, it's your business. Do what you want. I'm a big fan of, if it's your business, you should do what you want. But make sure that you're not doing things that are a knee-jerk reaction. There's a lot of OSHA data relative to masks and encumbering the breathing of a human being in the work environment for a 6 or 8 hour period of time. And so that's all we need to do is go back and look at that and then just weigh the pros of that relative to maybe a possible outbreak at your location and what that could do to your bottom line, and then you make your decision going forward. But I don't know if this is just there's been a whole lot of rational thought, because truthfully nobody here in New York is really masking up or doing anything about that again. So let's jump on to the big issue tomorrow night, is the Republican debate. And just want to make sure my mic is okay. And I'm going to watch the debate because it's good to know what your opposition is doing. But the reality is, everybody on the Republican side, they're just all going right at Donald Trump. And so all they're going to do tomorrow is keep pushing the curve right and right and right, which means they're going to say, you know, I don't want abortion in 2 weeks. I don't want abortion at 4 weeks. I don't want these people voting. You know, I don't want these people coming in and going there. You know, they're just going to justify every mean thing that they like to do to people. I thought it was a little bit ironic that even in Texas, the buoy system in the river is facing a little bit of a blowback. It's probably not enough to stop it, but it just means that people in Texas have a conscience, and maybe people already crossing a very dangerous river, putting a big obstacle there, which, you know, guarantees nearly their death, is just, you know, maybe there's some people who have a different heart on that. So let's go over the 8 Republican candidates who qualified for the first debate. I continue to say that Joe Biden, he's scared of everybody. That's why he's going to have COVID come back. And Miss Kamala Harris is worried about her appearance, but it doesn't really matter her appearance or her standing, so to speak. At the end of the day, Joe Biden's policies have not helped anybody. They haven't helped Democrats. They have not helped Republicans. Everything is more expensive. Nothing is working correctly. Planes are crashing. Mayor Pete, okay, again, should have been fired from Secretary of Transportation months ago. There's been no resolution on any of that. And what we're going to hear tomorrow is just really 8 Republican candidates, with one of them is it Twitter or is it X? You know, I don't have a Twitter account, so I don't know. I think it's X, but I was hoping to be able to at least hear what Donald Trump was going to say, to be able to compare it against the other 8. But I don't know how that's going to work out. But all of them, every single one of them, is just going to tell you everything that's so terrible about what you're doing, and how you're an awful person, and how they need to swoop down and save you and take control of your life, and how they know better. That's their whole message, every single one of them. And Joe, he don't have no message. I mean, maybe he was sleeping through the Maui funeral. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe the Hunter Biden show isn't a show. Maybe there's something that'll come about it. But this is not the way that the functional government of the United States is supposed to work. And again, I may be imperfect. I may be an imperfect candidate. But I know 1,000% what I believe in. And I believe that everybody has a right to do what they want to do within limitations of not bothering anybody else. And we're $30 trillion in debt, and money out of your pocket every single week. And they're pushing your Social Security and your retirement age to go later and later. And they're forcing choices on you, from electric cars to electric lawnmowers to electric everything. And they can't even keep the grid on, you know, during the summertime when there's air conditioning. So everything that the right is pushing today, and everything that Joe Biden is pushing today, all of them qualified. All it's meant to do is make all of our lives miserable. And so I'm going to keep fighting on, because I'm tired of it. I'm going to be 49 years old in a few days, And all I've seen for the last 30 years is the same group of clowns run in, promise the same stuff that nothing gets done with, but they all get rich. They all somehow get rich. They come out, they forget about you, and then we don't see them no more. And we're going to see Obama a little bit right now because Joe doesn't have any hope. So he's got to try to bring out their superstar. But Biden's so busy talking, Obama's so busy talking about gun control. I'm not sure that anyone's going to listen this time around, because the big thing with the gun control debate is when people don't feel safe, they go get things that make them feel safe. And the funniest thing about gun control is there is no gun control, because you can find a gun in every single major metropolitan city in the United States with a blink of an eye. So the whole idea of gun control is literally a dumb idea. What they should do is they should just give out more guns to lawful citizens and at least let them have a fighting chance to defend themselves. So who are these 8 Republican candidates? Well, we know who Donald Trump is, so we don't need to go through that. We know who Joe Biden is. Again, there isn't a law in Iowa that says that they have to do caucuses. Joe Biden was trying to make the Democrats do a mail-in primary, and that is not allowed in Iowa. So not only does he move the first in nation Iowa caucus to South Carolina, and I love South Carolina. I love people in South Carolina. I have friends down there. But the reality is you folks are Republican, 100%. You've never sent a Democrat in 70 years. I thought it was 50. It's almost 70 years. South Carolina has not elected a Democrat that has gone on to national office other than Clyburn and Tim Scott. And those are people who are just in party carved out districts, right? And so at the end of the day, you're going to dislodge all those people of Iowa who this is their little thing. And you're going to go to South Carolina because Joe Biden is so desperate that he just believes that the black vote is monolithic and they're all going to just stick with him. And so if he starts in South Carolina and wins there, but he loses the next 8 of them some way or gets close to a bunch of candidates who aren't even running, he's going to make the argument that he's the only guy that's out there protecting the black vote. And we know how that story goes. He's the last candidate protecting the black vote. So I won't rehash that. So the reality is Iowa passed the law, and I don't know if their governor signed it, which requires that all of the elections for the primary in the state of Iowa be caucus. And if they are caucus, then that means everyone gets to show up, and that includes me. And so I'm going to show up as long as that law moves forward and we're allowed to show up. I'm going to show up and talk to people because I have a voice and I live in America and I'm a free person. And I don't really know a whole lot what's different between Joe Biden and me, other than he's like almost 90 years old and he's lived as a government figure for 40 years. He's not really accomplished a lot. And we're going to expect him to go up against an accomplished businessman who is just going to use all his money and all his political connections to go even harder this time. He's going to bury Joe Biden. And the only reality is that there's a primary for Democrats, and that we get a whole bunch of candidates and see who's the strongest to take on Donald Trump. So the 8 Republicans outside of Donald Trump and the we don't really know what he is, Joe Biden. We have Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis I don't really believe is a threat anymore. Most people who know Ron DeSantis know that he's bad for business. He's bad for everything. He's bad for black. He's bad for Spanish. I don't know how he manipulated the districts in Florida, other than he diluted them. That's what he did. He diluted the power of the brown vote in the state of Florida and Miami-Dade. And, you know, when that was going on, everybody in the country on the Republican side was cheering him because he swept the state of Florida. He didn't sweep the state of Florida. He just took away the voice of one of the largest blocks of people in the state of Florida, and now they have no voice. So Ron DeSantis will be there. You can expect him to, he probably really start trying to chip at Trump. He'll probably start trying to go after Vivek. I don't know how to say his name. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I just, it's too hard. If I have a hard time saying your name, we'll get to you in a moment, Mr. Vivek. You got no shot in heck. I mean, you're like me. We're at the bottom. I know you're rising a little bit, but you know the rest of the country, you know, going and pulling the trigger for a name that they really don't understand. I don't really see that happening either. So Ron DeSantis is he's gonna go after everyone. He's a very angry person. He's very entitled. So that's what he's gonna do. Tim Scott, again, he's from South Carolina. You know, hold on. Tim Scott is, they say he's a bachelor candidate. Okay. I don't know if Tim Scott has kids. I mean, normally when they call you a bachelor, I think they were calling George Clooney a bachelor, right? Up to a certain point of time, and then he became married. But I just find it suspicious, okay? If you're over 50 and you're a bachelor or a bachelorette, something's wrong, okay? I mean, it's like a Lindsey Graham effect, right? Like, who wants to go their whole life without somebody by their side? I mean, it's weird. And so when he's in there late night on the White House by himself, and well, who's he gonna have to talk to? Is he gonna have a girlfriend there? Is he gonna what? How does that work out and stuff? So, I mean, I'm just being funny, but you know, Tim Scott is just not a reflection of anything. He's a reflection of the Republican Party at its extreme. He goes along with everything. Even, you know, this is a guy who has said, I do believe on the view that discrimination doesn't really exist. And I just, look, I don't want to make excuses, but to say that discrimination doesn't exist or that it's not an inhibitor is a ridiculous position. And I just don't know how he overcomes any of those things. We then have Nikki Haley. She was the governor of South Carolina. And again, we start to see more and more of a theme, right? All the folks coming out of South Carolina, because once again, it's a Republican state, right? So Joe Biden, Republican state. Look at this. We have Tim Scott. We have Nikki Haley, right? Two candidates coming out of the state of South Carolina. And yet Democrats want to hold their first primary in that state. It doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, and then we've got, is it Vivek Ramaswamy? Okay, I tried. I really did. And I'm not being dismissive to anybody. Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't know what I feel like almost he's like a Donald Trump, where he is smart enough to know the Republican Party, and you know, up until about 2 years ago, for the last 20 years, he's been anything but a Republican. But he realizes now what he can say and how he needs to say it to win over a certain group of people. And so I think he's personally more of a charlatan than Donald Trump. Donald Trump actually believes most of the crap that comes out of his mouth. I know some of us don't believe that, and I know a lot of the world wants to hate him for that. But look, when you're a certain person in life, wherever you are, a certain period of time in your life hits for everybody, where you become who you are, what you know you are. Donald Trump believes what he says. And just because we disagree with him doesn't make him an inherent liar or any of that stuff. I actually think that people like Joe Biden do more lying to our faces with their play on words, saying they saw bridges fall down when they weren't there, always bloviating. So Vivek Ramaswamy's going to be there. And then where's the rest of my candidate list? Uh-oh. That's not good. Do we have page 2? I have to come back up here. So we got Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence. Ugh, poor Mike Pence. Chris Christie, there we go. Chris Christie, folks. Chris Christie is Donald Trump light. He shut down a bridge in New Jersey to New York. I think it was 4 to 6 hours. He had a dispute with the mayor out of New Jersey. And, you know, I don't know, but there was an ambulance on that bridge. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't really know what the end result was. I wasn't there. But he shut down a bridge for 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours, to get mad at a local mayor of a Democratic city. I mean, a Democrat mayor of a local city, because he didn't like what he was going to say. Then what other people forget is that on the 4th of July, he shut down all of New Jersey's beaches for some political issue with the legislators. And then he went on the beach all day long while he shut the beach down to all the citizens of New Jersey. And now, if you don't think that's a tyrant, I mean, Trump says a lot of awful things, right? And he totally should not be president again. But I don't remember him shutting down things like that in that nature. I don't remember him going to exclusive beaches because he was in a dispute with Nancy Pelosi, right? I mean, if anything, I remember Nancy Pelosi being a lot more animated through the Trump years than Trump being animated towards Nancy Pelosi. But again, Chris Christie's a guy who shut down the bridge between New Jersey and New York City for 4 to 6 hours because he had a dispute with the local mayor of New Jersey, right? Not New York, New Jersey. And then on the 4th of July, he shut down the whole beach to the constituents of the state. And it wasn't enough for him just to shut down the beach. He had to then go and sunbathe on the beach himself, right? So the next time you see Donald Trump making fun of him with a buffet or something, understand this is a guy who shut down all the beaches on a national holiday and then went and spent the whole day on the beach by himself. You can go and research it. You can go see the helicopter pictures of them all taking care of it. So Chris Christie, here we go again. He's going to go out and he's going to launch and he's going to just try to go out and destroy Trump over and over and over and over and over again. That's what he's going to do because he just is not understanding that. What I think also Joe Biden doesn't understand is that Trump supporters are nearly all of the Republican Party. And so if you're going to go out and, you know, it doesn't make sense. It's like if you have a football team and you're a fan of a football team and then your home stadium and you get 2 or 3 guys from the other team in your area, I mean, they're allowed to sit there, but man, it's going to be awfully loud for them, right? Because they're in the other team's territory. So Chris Christie keeps going out and just striking and striking and striking and striking and striking Trump. And every time he strikes Trump, all he's doing is animating Trump's or the Republican base that's going to propel him to the primary win. And so then what you're going to see is Ron DeSantis try to defend Trump because he's a shrill. And Nikki Haley, maybe she should be a good vice president to Trump. But she's going to get out there and she's going to try to be sensible. But again, if all the parties align with Trump, I don't really see how anyone dislodges that tonight. And then we have Doug Burgum. Yeah. And former Governor Asa Hutchinson. Those are probably establishment people. Trump wouldn't sign the loyalty pledge. They say that's why he didn't get invited to the debate. But at the end of the day, Trump wasn't going to the debate because he's going to be on Tucker Carlson. So none of these folks, all right, have a plan for you. Not one of them. Okay? Not Joe Biden. He wants your gas to go higher. He wants your electricity bill to go through the roof. He wants to confine you in chains to your area so that there's no mobility, that you're stuck where you live, that you have no ability to get out because in order for you to get out, it will cost you so much money. You'll just be working as an indentured servant for the rest of your life. And Donald Trump, well, he's not really putting forth a platform, right? He's putting forth, they're against you. And if they're against you, then they're against me. And they're against me because they're really against you. And it's wonderful. It's a really hard thing to beat, right? And, you know, the other day I was sitting and I was having a conversation with some friends, and they said that Donald Trump has something like 100 felonies. And yet all over this country, every single night, cars go missing by the same groups of people who make them go missing the night before, and nothing happens. So when you compare the rational things of what laws did Trump actually break that the people can see relative to people who are actually committing crimes every night, it's just one of those things that at the end of the day, you really wonder how anyone sat down and thought that a jury of 12 people of Donald Trump's peers are going to convict him on anything. The only way you get him convicted is if you stack the jury. And we already talked about that. That's for another time. So that's where we are. You know, Ron DeSantis, very angry. He's going to try to retool again. He should go nowhere near the presidency. He's the worst out of all the candidates. I call him Tyrant Ron. Tyrant Ron. Governor Nikki Haley, got nothing to say about her. She was part of Trump's administration. I wouldn't expect her to go after Trump tomorrow. I wouldn't expect her to do much. I don't know. I haven't really heard her say she's got a plan for anything. They all basically saying they're just better than Trump. Mike Pence, boring. He was boring as Trump's vice president. He's going to be boring on the debate stage. He's going to do that long-winded God and country and I am. Okay. It just, you think that sooner or later as a country we would stop accepting people who act for us and just accept people who tell us the truth, what they want to do. It's something that we can get behind, and then try to go support that person the best that we can. So I just not going to be on tomorrow night, be on again Thursday. I may or may not show some clips of folks at the debate tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not really expecting it to be eventful in the sense that it's going to bring forth anything that's going to make my life better or your life better. And Joe Biden's got no plan either. So, once again, my name is Robert C Ayala. I'm a real Democrat running for the Democratic nomination for president to stop the campaigns of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, or any candidate telling us how to live, what to ingest, or how to look. I may be imperfect, but I know what I believe in. You. Have a good night. I'll see you Thursday night at 9:30, and thanks again.